Imagine waking up one day and discovering your entire life, every single memory, every cherished bond, was built on a deliberate, suffocating lie. That's what happened to me. The air in my kitchen felt impossibly heavy that day, the silence punctuated only by the distant hum of the refrigerator. An unopened envelope sat on the table, a stark white rectangle holding secrets I didn't know existed. My mother, Eleanor, had called just minutes before. "Whatever that test says," she'd whispered, her voice fragile, "I need you to know I love you." That was it. No comfort. No don't worry. Just those 4 words, delivered with a finality that made my blood run cold, a sound I'd never heard in 27 years, it sounded exactly like goodbye. I opened the envelope. I read the result. And every single memory of Eleanor, every birthday, every argument, every time she held me when I cried, shattered into a million pieces. All of it. Gone. My mother, Eleanor, was a force. People trusted her instinctively. Strangers poured out their hearts on airplanes. Cashiers remembered her name. She had this way of looking at you, like you were the only person in the room, the most important thing. I spent my whole life trying to earn that look, never once questioning it. She was 58, sharp-witted, composed, and the most private person I've ever known. No social media, no diary. She'd answer questions with other questions, and somehow, you'd walk away feeling enlightened. I thought it was wisdom. Now, I know it was strategy. It all started with a birthday gift from my husband, Ethan, one of those at-home DNA kits. "Let's see if you're secretly royalty," he joked. I laughed, almost tossed it. But boredom, or maybe just a flicker of curiosity, made me do it. I mailed the sample, forgot about it. 3 weeks later, the results were in. I almost didn't check them. The ethnicity breakdown was the first thing. Not shocking, exactly, but off. Eleanor had always said her family was Irish and French. My father, who left when I was 4, was supposedly Italian. My results told a different story. Not dramatically different, just enough to make me pause. I screenshot it, sent it to my cousin Sophia, Eleanor's sister's daughter, thinking she'd find it amusing. 6 hours passed. Her reply was chillingly brief, ignoring the DNA entirely. "Have you talked to your mom lately?" I called Eleanor that night. Normal chatter. Dinner plans. She even asked if Ethan and I were thinking about kids. "Maybe," I said. "Don't wait too long," she responded. Then, just before hanging up, I mentioned the DNA test. Silence. A brief, 2-second pause that has replayed in my mind 1,000 times since. "Those tests aren't always accurate," she said, her voice unnervingly calm. But she moved past it too fast, changed the subject to the weather, claimed she was tired. We hung up. I sat with my phone, telling myself I was overreacting. People get weird results all the time. Ethnicity estimates are imprecise. I believed that, for about 3 days. Then, the notification, a DNA match. A close match. Category, immediate family. The name? Someone I'd never heard of, J. Hargrove. Her shared DNA percentage with me, 47.8%. That number means only one thing, parent. Or child. I had no children. And my mother's name was Eleanor Voss. Not Hargrove. I stared at the screen until the words blurred, until they stopped making sense. And then, I did something I'm not proud of. I didn't call Eleanor. I didn't ask. I opened a new browser tab and started searching for a woman named J. Hargrove. J. Hargrove wasn't hard to find. That was the first thing that unsettled me. No locked profiles, no privacy settings. Just an open Facebook page, photos, comments, a life fully visible to anyone who looked. Her name was Julia Hargrove. She was 61, lived in Dayton, Ohio. I'd never been to Dayton in my life. She had brown eyes. Like mine. I told myself it meant nothing. A slight gap between her front teeth, barely noticeable. I had the same gap. Coincidence, I told myself. Her profile photo showed a daughter, around my age, laughing on a dock, sunlight catching her hair. I stared at it. Then I scrolled. 3 years ago, a birthday post, written by her. To the ones I've lost and the ones I've had to let go, you are never far from my heart. Some wounds don't close. They just become part of you. 47 likes. No comments. I read it 4 times. I don't know why that detail, no comments, made my chest feel hollow. But it did. I didn't sleep that night. I lay beside Ethan, going through every memory of Eleanor, searching for cracks. And here's the thing about cracks, once you start looking, you find them everywhere. The way she never spoke about her own mother. The single, slightly blurred photo of her pregnancy, no context. The way she'd always deflected questions about my birth with humor. You came out screaming and you haven't stopped since. I'd always laughed. Lying there in the dark, I couldn't remember why it was funny. By morning, I had a decision. I wasn't confronting Eleanor. Not yet. I needed more. I requested a connection through the DNA platform. I typed and deleted the message 11 times before settling on something simple. Hi. I think we may be related. I'd love to understand how. No pressure, only if you're comfortable. I hit send, put my phone face down, and went to work like a normal person. I was not a normal person that day. She responded in 4 hours. 3 sentences, I've been wondering if this day would come for a long time. I don't want to do this over a message. Can we please talk by phone? I read it in my car in the office parking lot. I sat there for 25 minutes. We spoke that Thursday evening. Her voice was low, careful. She asked my age. I told her. She went quiet. Then, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. I said okay. Did your mother ever tell you that you were adopted? The word landed like a physical blow. I actually looked around the room, as if the answer might be written somewhere. No, I whispered. She never told me anything like that. Another silence. Longer this time. Sweetheart, she said. And something about that word, from a stranger, broke something open in me. Eleanor was my younger sister. The room tilted. She couldn't have children. She had known for years. And I was. She stopped. I heard her breathing. I was very young. I was in no position to raise a baby. We made an agreement. I thought it was the right thing. I thought you'd have a better life. I thought, her voice broke. I thought she would tell you. Eventually. I truly believed she would tell you. I don't remember ending the call. Ethan found me 20 minutes later, sitting on the kitchen floor. I wasn't crying. I was just there, completely still, holding my phone. He sat beside me without a single question. That was the moment I understood, for the first time, what it means to have your entire identity become a question mark. I was not who I thought I was. My mother was not who I thought she was. And this stranger in Dayton, Ohio, was the reason I existed. I didn't call Eleanor for 9 days. 9 days of waking up next to Ethan, pretending everything was fine. 9 days of answering emails, eating dinner, watching TV like a person whose world hadn't completely inverted. I was good at pretending. I'd learned from the best. Julia and I spoke twice more during those 9 days. She was careful, measured. Like someone crossing ice, testing each step. She told me she was 19 when she got pregnant. No partner, no family support. My grandparents, her parents, had been deeply religious, deeply unforgiving. Eleanor was 24, already married, desperate for a child. She wanted you so badly, Julia told me. I need you to hold on to that. Whatever else you feel, hold on to that. I wrote it down. I stared at it. I wasn't sure it helped. She told me something else during that second call, something she'd hesitated to share. The agreement between her and Eleanor hadn't been entirely private. One other person had known, my grandmother. Their mother. She had brokered the arrangement, signed paperwork, made sure everything was sealed and buried. She died when I was 11. I remembered her as a small, quiet woman who smelled like lavender and never looked me directly in the eyes. I'd always assumed she was just shy. That detail unraveled me more than anything. It meant the secret had architecture. It wasn't a spontaneous lie, not panic or impulse. It was constructed. Deliberately. By multiple people. My entire childhood had been built on a foundation that 3 people had agreed, in advance, to never let me see. On the 10th day, I drove to Eleanor's house. I didn't call ahead. She was in the kitchen, stirring something, humming quietly. She turned, smiled. For one single second, I saw her the way I always had, safe, familiar, mine. Then the second passed. I put my phone on the kitchen table, Julia's profile open on the screen. Eleanor looked down. No gasp. No paleness. She just stopped stirring. Set the spoon down slowly. And sat at the table like the air had been sucked out of her. How long have you known? She asked, her voice thin. Long enough, I said. She nodded, like that was fair. Like she'd been waiting for this exact moment for 27 years and wouldn't insult me by pretending otherwise. I was going to tell you, she whispered. I didn't respond. I meant to tell you when you were 18. Then when you graduated. Then when you got married. She folded her hands on the table. There was never a right time. And then the right time was just gone. I asked the question I'd carried for 10 days. Did you ever think about what it would do to me? Finding out like this? She looked at me directly. Every single day, she said. Every day of your life. And here's where the story fractures. Because she was crying now. Quietly, without drama, tears sliding down her face. And I recognized that cry. I'd seen it at my grandfather's funeral. The night I called her from college after a car accident. The morning Ethan proposed and she pulled me aside, holding my face. That cry was real. I had never once questioned it. I loved you, she said. I love you. That was never the lie. I believed her. I hated that I believed her. Because it would have been so much simpler if the love had been the lie too. If all of it had been a performance. But it wasn't. And that, somehow, made everything harder. I left without finishing the conversation. I sat in my car outside her house, thinking about Julia, 19, alone, terrified, handing over her baby to a sister who promised love. I thought about my grandmother, signing papers, keeping secrets, never meeting my eyes. I thought about Eleanor. 27 years of birthday cakes, school pickups, 2 a.m. fevers. 27 years of a love that was completely real, built entirely on a truth she decided I didn't need. My phone buzzed. A text from Eleanor. 4 words. I'm sorry. Come back. I stared at it. I started the car. I drove home. I didn't go back that night. Or the next. I needed distance the way you need air after being underwater too long, desperately, and all at once. Ethan didn't push. He just stayed close. Made coffee. Kept the lights on. Some people love you loudly. He loved me quietly. I needed quiet more than anything. Julia sent me a letter. Handwritten. 4 pages. The envelope had a small water stain on the corner, like it had been sitting for a while before she finally mailed it. I think she wrote it long before I ever found her. I think she'd been waiting for permission to send it. She wrote about the day I was born. She was allowed to hold me for 11 minutes. She counted. I memorized your hands, she wrote. I don't know why. Just your hands. I looked down at my own hands when I read that. I couldn't stop shaking. She wrote about the agreement with Eleanor. How it felt like the right choice at 19. How it felt like a slow amputation by 25. How she'd driven past Eleanor's house once, just once, when I was about 7. She saw me in the front yard. She didn't stop. You were chasing a dog that wasn't yours, she wrote. You were laughing. I drove around the block 3 times. Then I went home and I didn't come back. I called her after I finished the letter. I wasn't angry. I'd expected to be. I'd rehearsed it. But she was 19, alone, terrified, and she made the only decision she believed she had. I understood that. What I couldn't yet understand was Eleanor. Eleanor had been 24. An adult. A woman with choices, time, and 27 years of opportunity to simply tell me the truth. 3 weeks after I found out, I went back to Eleanor's house. She opened the door before I knocked. She'd been watching. We sat in the living room, not the kitchen this time, and we talked for 4 hours. She told me everything. The paperwork. The story they constructed for neighbors. The single photograph of her fake pregnancy. The way her mother had coached her on what to say. She told me she had never once stopped being terrified I would find out. Weren't you exhausted? I asked. Every day, she said. Every single day. I asked her the question I'd saved for last. If I had never done that DNA test, were you ever going to tell me? She didn't answer immediately. She looked at her hands. Then at me. I told myself I would. I think I needed to believe that to keep going. She paused. But honestly? I don't know. And you deserve better than a lie dressed up as an answer. That moment changed something. Not everything. Not even most things. But something. Because it was the first completely honest sentence she had ever said to me about any of it. And it cost her. I could see it cost her. I'm not going to tell you we fixed it that afternoon. We didn't. There are still days I look at her and feel the ground shift beneath me. There are still nights I take out Julia's letter and read the part about my hands. I am still learning who I am inside a story I didn't know I was living. But here is what I know now. Love and deception can exist inside the same person simultaneously. That is not an excuse. It is just the most painful thing I have ever learned to be true. Eleanor loved me completely and lied to me completely, and both of those things are real, and neither one cancels the other out. Julia let me go out of love and spent 27 years grieving it. My grandmother kept a secret to her grave and never once looked me in the eyes. 3 women. 1 decision. 1 life, mine, built on top of it. I talk to Julia every week now. We are careful with each other still. Tender, like people handling something fragile that has already been dropped once. She asked me recently if I was angry at Eleanor. I thought about it for a long time. I'm something, I told her. I haven't found the word for it yet. She said, take your time. The word will come. I think she was talking about more than the anger. Eleanor and I still have dinner on Sundays. I don't know if that's strength or habit or something I'm not ready to examine yet. Maybe it's all 3. Maybe that's okay. Some secrets don't destroy the love around them. They just change its shape forever. And you spend the rest of your life learning to hold something that no longer fits the way it used to. I'm still processing this incredible, heartbreaking truth. If you found out your entire life was a secret, what would your first reaction be? Would you have forgiven her, or would finding out have ended everything? Let me know in the comments below. I'm reading every single one.